Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Thanks for joining in to the Mitch the Motivator program, and I got a big one for you today. Yes, a big story. I'm sure you might have heard about it. I'm going to talk about the disaster, the trouble in paradise story regarding T.J. Holmes and Amy Robach, the disaster that happened. Yeah, the total. The biggest mishap ever, really, too. That could really have happened between these two seemingly perfect individuals. And we're going to talk about this in depth. We'll talk about how this has so many troubling scenarios and how you find yourself in a situation regarding having feelings or catching romantic interest, feelings for someone on the workplace, how to try to deal with that. This is really a very bad situation here because here we had two people who seem to be almost perfect. The way they came off, attractive, professional in relationships, endure many things, and like many other people, they caught feelings and develop a romantic affair. This is troubling because you would think with the knowledge and wherewithal, the professionalism, they would have, tried to at least deal with the situation a little bit better. But feelings of the heart, sometimes they took over. That's why it's troubling because when you let that happen and it really destroys something that you worked so tremendously hard to do and accomplish, and it's all taken away from you, pretty much. That that's a disastrous situation, it really is. And you know, why did this have to happen like that? This is incredibly bad because what it does is shows that uh, two people, again, who really much were at the apex of their career and had so much more to offer, the national stage, just really let something such as an affair just ruin it. Now, why did they go to this way? If you feel they've had feelings for each other, why did they, you know, be out so much in the open where paparazzis and different people could take pictures of it? It was reckless and it was careless. See, this really shows that okay, if you're going to, get involved with someone, you know, it's okay as long as I got some kind of prominence and I'm this really accomplished person and I'm on a national stage and I got this really cushion job on, you know, the morning news that, I'm kind of have like Teflon, I kind of get away with it to a degree. Or, you know, if people do find out, then, you know, they'll forgive me. Or, I'm still pretty relatively young and, things, they'll work out. People understand the feelings of the heart and stuff like that. I believe they had that mindset. And that was a very careless and reckless mindset to have, very irresponsible mindset to have, the way they went about the situation. Because what it showed was that other people who watch this, that who are in these affairs like that, can just pretty much go ahead and, do what they want to do, going against company policy and saying that, hey, if I made a mistake and it's my own personal business with that attitude, then it's no one else's business. And then it'll just pretty much, just flee. And there's no big trouble behind it. It is, again, a personal issue at worst. And it's not like it's, something that's going to, cause a great, you know, social disaster in the world. But no, what it does is, again, it shows that the irresponsibility of having power in which they have and influence can go, astray when you don't handle situations that arise between you and someone else. Is it other people's business? From this perspective, it is, because what happens is you're a public person. You sign a contract saying that you're supposed to pretty much represent a company and you're representative of so much with regards to people having trust in you, people seeing you every morning, people, saying, well, okay, this uh, ideal person who's presenting the news to me is someone that I can receive information from and, pretty much feel secure and go about my day with this timely and important information. That's what you're delivering. Yes, it's more than just having a pretty face or being attractive. That's appealing and pleasing to the eye, but people want to again feel secure and feel that they can trust this person. So they put these ideal type people in front of the camera. But when you have things going on behind the camera, and it's being revealed or was revealed, then it just takes away people's trust, takes away people's, interest. So again, you're representing again a very huge company, and again, you didn't take into consideration these two individuals, what that really had meant to people who invest their interest in it and their time into consuming this news and these reports. So again, it was a bad representation of the influence they had, and also all the other people, their peers, the younger people, were going into the field of journalism, seeing this, saying, "Well, you know what? These people who did this, irresponsible thing, had this affair, and you know, this is something that maybe I don't know if I want to go into this field because if I catch feelings for someone, I can be pretty much embarrassed on a national stage. So maybe I'll just work behind the scenes." Yes, it has these implications. And people look at these two people and say, well, you know, how could I, really, why should I get into the workplace? Maybe I'll work remotely as a journalist instead of taking on the pressure of maybe developing feelings for someone and then only to have it all swept away from me. Now, you know, these things happen, but you had to have better control of the situation. I mean, you have so much given to you only for you to lose it because, boom, you found someone's butt to be too nice, or, you know, you found somebody's face to be too nice. And you just risk it all just because, you thought that this person was going to be, you know, cool and everything was going to work out without someone coming along and find out about it only to ruin your situation. And they should have really been much more astute and understanding and not be so naive to know that there are people out there who are coming to take your place. They show a weakness on that. There are people out there who had, these feelings of envy and jealousy who want to see them, you know, taken off this national stage. And they risked that. They should have took all these things in consideration. And also, people looking at it from the racial standpoint. Yes, it was an interracial affair, black journalists, a white female journalist. There's so much hate and envy out there that again it showed that all these stereotypes that black men can't stay away from, women in the workplace, these predators, these sexual predators who just can't focus on their job and given so much given so much esteem and prestige, still can't keep their minds, keep their thoughts away from sexual relationships, especially with people who look different from them. Jungle fever, if you will. It brings up all these different stereotypes, racial stereotypes that people harbor, people who are, let's say, in especially other parts of the country who still maybe have harbor racial animosity, see this and say, you know what, here we go again. This interracial, marriage, relationship, and affairs, this can't work. You're giving people all this, responsibility and prestige and power, only to see that it just falls apart. And again, it just fuels the fire. It fuels all these misconceptions. Black black people in general, black males, you know, in these certain situations. And it really just again puts gasoline on the fire that's already burning in the world today. So these are the things that this journalist TJ should have took in consideration. You know, there are people out there. I mean, just like the coach in Boston, the Boston Celtics coach. You know, and understand that you're in very critical times still with so much animosity going on. People wanted to find something wrong about you, wanted to go after you. They really want to do things to see that you're out of the realm of power and prestige because again you're not worthy of it because of your skin color. Yeah, these things are still going on, these thoughts. And TJ Holmes, again, this is something that you really should have taken consideration, as well as Amy Robach. She played into the situation, understanding she should know herself that, there's still stereotypes out here, and that if they were to be caught, he was going to probably get most of the blame, and she was going to be the so-called Becky, who really fueled all this. And it could have basically looked like a setup. And that's going to be in people's mindsets. Well, maybe she set him up. Maybe this was some kinds of, you know, conspiracy that took place. All these different ramifications that can come out of this. Yeah, and it's still alive in people's minds. It still goes on. People don't talk about it. In public, of course, they might talk about it at the water cooler, so to speak, or with their friends chatting it up. But these conversations are heard in the barbershop or where have you. So again, you know, when they were given these privileges, representing the nation on, these newscasts, these news shows, they had to understand that going in. There was a pressure, yeah. But see, with pressure comes prestige. And, going out and acting as though, they are, immune to something transpiring where someone couldn't find out about it was again naive, and it was something that was foolish that they even could even possibly conceive of, thinking that you know this was something that will just go you know away, and people may have found out about it and maybe thought it was sweet and romantic and interesting. No, the flip happens because again there's so many more people who would like to see you unfortunately be hurt, harmed, and lose your privilege and power out there secretly than people who are rooting for you. Sometimes that happens. Remember, a lie gets around a corner much faster than the truth. So, it's a disaster, and I don't really see him coming back from this on a national stage again, representing a nation, uh, because again, it just shows that someone like him can be trusted. That's what it does. It's putting that image out there, and people's thoughts that putting this guy up here again. Can we really trust that this is going to happen? Can we trust that another person who looks like him can be trusted in that situation with another female, a black male journalist and a white female journalist? Can they be trusted? Yeah, it's going to be on some people's mindsets because they know that it's going to. If it happens again, it's going to fuel these flames that's still taking place of bigotry and racial prejudice, especially when you look at it from a sexual standpoint. There's one thing, you see interracial couples, people see them and, see families, and we're seeing more and more of that on, commercials, we call it social engineering. There are people who don't like that. They don't want to see that happen. And they'll say, you know what? We got all these commercials with these interracial couples and stuff like that, and smiling during holidays and all this stuff. But look at the TJ Holmes. They'll put up the TJ Holmes and Amy Robach picture and say, well, you know what? Look, this is what really happens. These types of relationships don't really work out well because, again, you got these sexual, overly sexualized men who are going after these women, on the workplace, again, at schools, at the gyms, and just fuels the flames. And this has to be emphasized and restated because this is what goes on. So for them to really be people to add fuel on the flames of this in a way by being reckless and careless, you giving people, you know, the ammunition, so to speak, to talk about this, to ridicule this. I mean, this is going to be something on, your variety shows, on your, comedy shows. I'm sure. Again, people are going to make this a caricature and joke about it. A whole lot of it because, again, attractive, young, and it was an interracial sexual relationship that took place. And the fallout of their families. That's another thing. That's one of the most problematic, the most serious and troublesome parts where their children, their family going to be affected by this. Not just them. Maybe they even have businesses on the side where, they employ people and they hire people for different things. From them suffering from this in their contract, other people around are going to too. Not just their family. And that's the worst part. Like Amy, her children. They're going to feel terrible about this. I'm saying this has a snowball effect in a very serious way, in a very devastating way to the children. They're going to be ridiculed at school. I mean, they're going to be talked about, stuff like that. They're going to deal with the stress and strain of this situation themselves. So it goes into the selfishness of this whole situation. And the people, again, that they may, who work for them, who they're friends and associates, again, this just keeps on having a rippling effect. And, just because two people were, going out, messing around, yeah, they caught feelings, but risk so much just because they had these moments of pleasure that is really resulting in longer moments or permanent situations of ruination and just disaster from so many different levels. Yes, tjholmes is responsible. Amyrobach are responsible for this. All the outside noise, all the different people pontificating, all the people having different feelings and opinions and voices, they're going to have that. You put yourself out there in the limelight, in the front and center, front stage, people are going to do that. It's different than if you were at a company, at a private company somewhere, maybe working for the government, something like that. Maybe, you could have had, something, you could be working remotely and develop feelings. Whatever the situation was, it's totally different. This is a situation where you are out there in the morning where millions upon millions of people are watching you too. Yes, young, relatively young, vibrant, attractive people presenting the news to them in an interracial situation. Yes, so many eyes are on them in the first place. And for them to have these again, so very selfish, very reckless thoughts and way they took this situation, they just ruined so much. They ruined the whole image of America coming together. Again, the way people are promoting racial harmony through social engineering, through commercials, through advertisements, different things like that. They did that. I mean, you are public people. You take on a public responsibility. Yeah, you were the perfect image of how two people coming from two different backgrounds, two different walks of life, come together again, could have had something that was representative of where America could continue to go or start to go. But no, you decided you wanted to do something else. You decided that, hey, I want to go in the mountains, upstate New York, you know what I mean, and do what I wanted to do. And, feel as though that, hey, everything's cool. We live in a time where it's post-racial situations and everybody's getting along and racial stereotypes are just, obsolete. No, they didn't think that way. See, when you sometimes are too high on a hog and you think that you're not touchable, you let these things, just say, well, hey, I'm bigger than anybody. You know, people going to say, it's a forgiving country. No, it's not forgiving. Not in this sense. Not as much as they thought it would be. And I think there's so many more other things that's going to come out of this, which is terrible. Now they had a chance to really show not just the United States, but show the world how far that we have come or could come as a people. Yes. Yeah, it's not in, legislation, it's not in, you know, spiritual things. It's in American culture, i.e., that is part of American culture, entertainment and media. And they were strong representatives of that, especially in the morning. First thing people see with their coffee, with their donuts, starting their day, going to work, them two individuals. And I'm kind of pissed off about it because what it shows is that, again, you give this person this type of privilege, even though they work for it, and they can't control what's in their pants. They can't control their thoughts. And she couldn't do it as well. She's not even knowing that these have, replications. These have things that can really transpire off into just people, again, having and keeping these feelings of animosity going. And no, but they just wanted to, say, well, hey, as long as we got this fling going on, long as, hey, I'm doing what I want to do and everybody else is doing what they want to do. No, people looked at you two. Yeah, was it unfair? Yeah, but look, when you say it's unfair, again, that's you being naive. It was that much of a pressure for them. That's the main thing that he should have knew going into the situation. TJ Holmes. And TJ Holmes, if you ever watched this video, this is something that you should really learn from. You know, images of OJ Simpson, images of all kinds of different things. When people would see you two, they would think about that. They would think that, something's going to happen. They already probably thought that you two were involved in a relationship in the first place. They weren't going to say, well, you know what, this guy, this black journalist, attractive guy, this very attractive white female journalist, they're probably, kicking each other's feet under the table. They're probably definitely going to have a lunch at times. Something's going to happen. And if it's not going to happen, maybe we'll try to get them in a situation. Maybe people behind the scenes. It could be, again, something that's conspiratorial. Who knows? But other people behind the scenes wanted to see this blow up right in front of their faces. And it's not just them, it's other people who are, being affected by this. They're representations of people. Yes, TJ Holmes is representation of black males, black male professionals, black males in general. In these workplaces, in these workspaces. And for them, again, to say, well, hey, we didn't fight on air. I didn't punch her. I didn't smack her. And that's what people maybe thought was going to happen at some point, too. I didn't cuss her out. No, even worse than that. Now, any of those things are bad, but what's even worse than that is the whole sexual relationship. Because with some of the racists out here, that's their worstest fear, that a black man, attractive, strong, professional, intelligent, accomplished black man, that end up attractive, professional, white female. Yeah, it's still out there. And for them to play into this situation, that's why, again, this thing is so terrible, ridiculously terrible. And I believe that, again, he's not going to come back from this for a long time. This is even different than the Will Smith situation, even though, people might thought he was stereotypical and he scared people when he shouted out, this black man just shouting out, these cuss words. No, again, this goes way back to Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation is the representation of these racist stereotypes stereotypes of black men being predators, going after white females, white women. All these caricatures, all these racist images are still, again, in some mindsets of people. And this is something that they would like to use. These aren't just people in, college or in, middle America or working class people. Now, these were people who are, again, the whole image of and representation of accomplishment and still have much more to accomplish. Not all people, relatively young, been through things, overcame things, and they're doing well. Yeah, this is something that the people out there who are against this love to see so that they could take it, run with it, and say, well, you know what? Here again, and I'm telling you right now, years from now, decades from now, this TJ Holmes, Amy Robach situation is going to come up. And people want to show, well, you know what? They're going to be the running, joke. They're going to be something that people are going to use as reference points in certain situations down the line, years from now, decades from now. This wasn't just two people, black journalist and another black journalist, or a white journalist and another white journalist. No, this has interracial uh, ramifications. Unfortunate as it is, but it's true. And I'm just speaking the truth in the matter. And how this is a situation, again, that them not having, again, enough consideration and thoughtfulness. Those are the key words: consideration and thoughtfulness, which I try to bring to my videos each and every time that I have them. Consideration and thoughtfulness for not just the workplace, the American public, their families, their friends, or themselves, in which they were the ones who have really and are really experiencing the fallout from this. And they made their bed literally, and they're sleeping in it right now, figuratively, meaning, they're going through some really difficult, awful times right now because, again, they were the model image of success from, racial standpoint, professional standpoint, and, it's just ruined. Now, who else are they going to put up there now? Who they're going to show now? Who are going to be the anchors now? No, they may say, well, okay, maybe we'll get another black journalist, another white female journalist, just to show that, it's not racial, that we still want to try to, show this experiment. And that's what it really basically is. Are they going to do that? Or are they fearful, this company, that something like this might happen again? See, this is another thing they're going to be talking about in, the offices and the conferences and the meetings. I'm sure they're going to. Maybe not straight out like that, but there are going to be some undertones about, who are we going to really have up there now, since these people are not there? Should we go with white and white, black and white, just two males? That won't work. Two females? So, again, this is going to be troublesome for them again on their replacements. And again, so much, again, that people are thinking about. I'm just really just reiterating, sharing. And these are the topics that need to be addressed and talked about in a more serious manner. Because that's what everybody's thinking. And I'm sure when people were watching this beforehand, these two, Amy Robach and TJ Holmes, they were saying to themselves, you know what? They weren't just looking at them as two professionals. They were saying, you know what? There's something about these two. Something maybe is going on. See, they didn't just see them as professionals, people. They seen something else, and sometimes that something else was something that was negative. And unfortunately, it played out. No, these not just, again, two people at any other job, two people at, you know, at a sales job, at, an insurance company, a lawyer, a doctor, at the hospitals, law firms, and accounting. No, these are people front and center, representations. So, this is a troubling, this is really, really a bad, disastrous situation. It really is. And I'm just speaking the truth of what many people, unfortunately, are thinking and harboring. And again, whose fault is it? Theirs. People, again, want to say different things, interesting things about it, things that are not so pleasing. People had a freedom of speech. We are a freedom of speech. First Amendment, in which they were a part of that. First Amendment, reporting, you know, sharing information, sharing news. So it kind of even falls into that umbrella. It's not like they were the butcher, baker, candlestick maker type of professions or occupations. So, again, this is bad. And for them to, again, think that this wasn't going to be such a horrible thing, you know, it's not. And the financial part of it, you know, in these difficult times, I don't care how wealthy a person might seem they are, we never know how much a person has, but just to lose so much from a financial standpoint, that's devastating. And that's what causes many, relationships to fall too. Not just infidelity, but the financials. Yes, the financial problems. So, again, ruin their reputations, ruin their financials. They set these, reset these imageries of interracial affairs that go awry, all these stereotypes. Yeah, that's what came out of this. They added fuel to the fire on this. They're responsible heavily. Can't make no bones about it. This is what happened. This is just what people are thinking or saying. Yeah, it really is. So, as time goes on, I'm sure there's going to be, unfortunately, even more fallout about it. It probably could be other fairs, other things that they were doing. You know, I'm sure people are researching, they're going into depth about this right now, and you're going to hear about it. You're going to hear about it loud and clear because they were in a profession where you would hear about things loud and clear, if you will. Yep. So when all the limelight, all the, things that were placed on you, which they were enjoying, and that's good. You work for that. Now the spotlight is on them in a way that is not so cool, not so great. And the way they pretty much deserve that. Because again, they had a chance to really do something quite special instead of allowing the small head to take over the big head and her allowing her, feelings of I want to be, emotionally and maybe sexually pleased take over. No, they had a chance to do something totally awesome, bringing people together, not just reporting the news, not just looking good, not just representing America great on an international scale, but no, they had a chance to really show that two people from two different backgrounds can come together and put their feelings aside, even it could be a struggle, and show that, yeah, not only do we mean business, we can deliver business, we can deliver the information, we can keep ourselves under control, we can show discipline, we can show a manner of respect for ourselves and each other and the company, as well as America, and go for it as professionals, true professionals, and do our job, do our diligence. And then they had a chance to show that, to shatter any stereotype, to shatter any type of thoughts or notions on a national, international stage. If you're looking at it through, your devices internationally. Well, news travels around the world anyway. And this is not just news in America, this is news around the world. Yeah, tjholmes, amyrobach. Yep, did it. Did this. Responsible for it. So when somebody writes somewhere in Idaho or somewhere in the deep south of Mississippi saying, well, ha ha ha, look at these two. Some bigot there saying, you know what? See, we were right all along. Well, you make their day. Make their day real big and real special. That's terrible. You could have said, you know what? I'm not going to make these people's day. I'm going to go out and do my job, and I'm going to do it well and be a source of encouragement to people who want to come together, who are in interracial relationships, who are struggling with that. Yeah, this has implications with that too. It could have shown that. Or people working side to side at workplaces, blacks and whites, people of different races and nationalities. All this goes into play. That's why this is something that's really quite terrible, because they had the power and opportunity to do that. But no, they want to do something else that, you know, those moments of pleasure, well, lifetime of pain, and pain in all kinds of different ways, which I just mentioned. So, I mean, this is extremely unfortunate. And this is going to be something that people are going to hold up, the haters, as an image of, hey, we can't allow two people to be together like this because this is going to happen. This is probably, you know, just something that's normal between people like that, which is not. It's just a precedent of what, you know, people want to think about certain situation and things. And, I just said, don't give the people who are against you or negative any kind of power whatsoever. And yeah, and people, some of the, the sisters, the ladies, black women are saying, look, see that? Black man and a white woman. It's not, they can't even sit together, let alone, you know, communicate and do their jobs professionally without something coming about it, of it. So again, it just really just puts so much gasoline on timbers that they're smoldering. Just puts so much gasoline on a fire that's even already burning. And these two particular individuals, these misanthropic people, and that's what they really come down to. These cretins who let their own selfish pleasures, own selfishness take over and just really ruin something that they could have continued to make happen, that was on a level of racial harmony, racial peace, and it's just a strong representation of just two wonderful people working together, coincide, you know, doing something that's really terrific and awesome. So it's pretty bad. And I want to share these thoughts because I know that many people are talking about it, and there will be more talk about it. And I had to gather my thoughts and think about this. And I was like, wow, this had to happen, you know. And I had a appreciation and respect for them, showing an image of how people can, get along and work together. But, hey, this has to be called out. And, this was something that's, just awful. Awful that this transpired and took place. And the worst part is, again, people are going to say, can, people who are from different backgrounds, different ethnicities work together? Yeah. So, I'd like for everybody to, share their thoughts as long as they're respectful, but share what's on your mind about this. Because again, this has something that's going to be troublesome, and I see, again, I don't see how, they can come back from this. I don't see how America is going to go forward in a way that is going to be, something that's going to bring this unsolved more racial healing, you know, with regards to so much stuff that's taking place. So, hey, these are some thoughts, again, that are true, that are real, that are raw. And again, we got to see, it's just in a sad situation right now. And, I don't wish any more harm or bad ill will to them particular people, those two particular individuals. But hey, it is what it is, and stating the obvious, and that again, just leaves a really bad taste in people's mouths. Who wanted to not see something like this transpire, but it did. And here's the thing: since humans are humans and people catch feelings, and if they were really thoughtful and considerate, they should have went to their employers with their attorneys and discussed that we have feelings for each other, we have you know enough relationships, there's something going on between us, and we want to address this to the employers with their contracts and stuff like that, and have their attorneys present to show that we want to at least show a measure of respect for the company, for ourselves, for our viewers, our fans, our families and friends, and handle it that way. And whatever had happened after that, that happened. At least they would have had the dignity, the courage, the respect, the consideration, thoughtfulness for everyone else and in themselves before all this was going to transpire and happen. That's what they really should have thought about and did. And I believe that they had the power to do that, but did they care? Did they care enough? See, that's the whole point. Because if they didn't, joke's on you. Have a great day. Thanks for joining in. Take care, everybody. Until the next video, all the best. As I would say, always, peace out. Please like, subscribe, and share this video so ones can have, some share their thoughts about it. And let's have some conversation. I'm telling you, this is something that is something I hate to say, but it happened. It's terrible. All the best again. 2 thumbs up. One love.